All right. So, a few weeks back, I did some short docs on stuff on how I got started, singing and things like that, with some band information, and like I said, I wanted to put that stuff down before I forgot it. But what kind of triggered all that was I put together a compilation of some studio stuff from 1994 to 1999. And what I want to do with this is I'm just going to kind of run through these. I want to put a few installments on what is on the compilation CD. It's not all the stuff that I've done in the studio, but it's like 95% of it. So I just kind of wanted to run through it and kind of say, go through about what the songs are about, and so we'll see how this plays out. I just kind of want to run through it. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I think it's a pretty cool compilation. I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad I had all these songs and was able to put it down on CD before they get too old and tapes get wore out and things like that. So the first one is the band was Terminal Bliss, and the first song that's on here is Broken Circle. Broken Circle is about family stuff, mother, father, brother, sister, which is my family, and I just kind of wanted to write a song about stuff that kind of happens to break up a family and things like that. And you're always a family, even though the circle is broken. So it's always there through eternity. The next one is also Terminal Bliss, and it's called Beast Within. I think we all have. I just wanted to write a song. I think we all have a beast within us that we kind of keep below the surface, and it can come out at any time for whatever reason. You get pissed off, or something's happening. There's a rage that we all have something in our brains that help us control our emotions and things like that. And sometimes you just lose your shit, and the beast within comes out, right? So the next one is also Terminal Bliss, and it's called Aimlessly Lost. Aimlessly Lost was like one of the first 5 songs I think that we ever wrote in 1993, and it's about going into the world of spirit. There's a beginning part. I always thought it was really cool when Morrison of the Doors would speak his lyrics. So I kind of wanted to incorporate that into one of our songs, and so I did, and I did that on the beginning of Aimlessly Lost. And like I said, it's about going into the world of spirit, and you pass away, and we all have questions about that, and it kind of goes into that about what a life is, and passing over and going into that next world. Death is a part of life, and I just wanted to write a song about that, so I did. The next one is Journey into the Black. Journey into Black. Journey is like that's more of an instrumental thing right in the beginning of the song, so that's the journey. And In the Black is singing about life and things like that. The lyrics about the life, not knowing what's going on all the time. You're kind of searching around. You kind of in the black, and the riff was kind of taken from a Metallica song. It was called Leper Messiah. That Mike got the idea to do the riff for that. So Mike kind of got that idea from the riff, and we all thought it was cool. So he incorporated that riff, just his own little twist on it, into Journey in the Black. So the next one is also a Terminal Bliss song, and it is Deadly Persuasion. Deadly Persuasion was one of those really early songs we wrote when we first got together in like '93. It's probably one of the top 5. It's about crack addiction. Crack addiction, you always heard about that in the 90s, like late 80s and into the 90s. And just kind of wanted to write a song about that. And it's stupid to do drugs, and what can happen, it can kill you. You get through the song, and at the end, the guy dies at the end of the song. So that's what that song was about. So the next one is also Terminal Bliss, and it's called Calm Before the Storm. Calm Before the Storm was my first stab at trying to write a love song. And it took a little while to get around to that, but it came about. It's a really good song. Like I said, it's my first attempt to write a love song, and a love song about love that's gone bad. You're losing your love, and the Calm Before the Storm. is being in love, and then after that love is gone is snoring, right? So the next one is Blown. Blown is about heroin addiction. Later on in life, I kind of found out people that I knew were on heroin, people that I knew have died from heroin overdose, and it's horrible. As I've gotten older, I've gotten a real hatred for drugs. I mean, I can't say a lot about alcohol because I still consume my fair share of alcohol on the weekend. And, I don't have to work. Not like the old days when I would drink all the time. But that's what that song is about. It's about heroin addiction. And as I got a little older, when I wrote this in '94, I believe it was, kind of learned a little bit more about it, and it's just bad shit, and you don't want to mess with it. And just horrible. The next one is Manifest, also by Terminal Bliss. Manifest, I think Greg come up with a couple words and for that song, so I don't think I wrote all the lyrics for that song. But it's a cool. It really doesn't. Manifest is just about about life experience, and manifest trying to make the best of it. But sometimes in your mind, you close yourself off, and you're in your own kind of world, and it can manifest into whatever you want it to manifest into. So the next one is there's a few songs on here by Secondhand Smoke, and the first one is by Secondhand Smoke is let me see Witchy. 99% of that, 95% of that song lyrically was written by Tom Barnett, the guitar player in Secondhand Smoke, and I think he sang it before I came into the band. I came into the band, I added like one, just a couple lines when we went into the studio with it, and like I said, they already had that when I had joined the band in '96, and but we went ahead, we played that song a lot, and really cool. Mike did a really good job on the lead, so that's why it's on the compilation. It's a good song. The next one is Speed of Light. Speed of Light was a song that I wrote, kind of a take on Calm for the Storm. It's about a love song, love gone wrong, and it's kind of like the next step of what Calm for the Storm was. And that was the only song I wrote in that band all the way through. The whole time we were together through '96 and through like the middle of '97. I think we broke up. And that was the only full song I ever written in that band, so that's really all I contributed. But it's on the studio stuff, so that's cool. The next one is also Secondhand Smoke, and it's called Strange Room. Strange Room. I think that was either Tom's song or it could have been Frank Woomer's song lyrically. And just like Witchy, I kind of came in. They already had it when I come into the band, and I did like one or two lines added to the song, and when we got to the studio, made it a little better than what it was live, because I held notes on it a little bit longer and things like that, which I did live anyway, but it sounded good in the studio, and I'm really glad we did that. Hey, Mr. Fritz, what are you doing, Mr. Fritz? How come you're on the table like you usually are? So that's Fritz over here. So that was Strange Room. So now we're getting into the Sore material, and the Sore material is was always good stuff. But the first one is Ties That Bind. Ties That Bind is stuff about come on, Fritz, keep going, Fritz, come on, Fritz. Anyway, Ties That Bind is just about stuff that ties you into life. You know what I mean? Sometimes that can bring you down, bring you up. And that's what it's about, Ties That Bind. The next one is let's see, Ties That Bind. Really need my glasses here. Come on, move your tail there, Fritz. Come on, Fritz. Come on. Forever Clear. Forever Clear is about getting out of a drug haze or an alcoholic haze. Getting your mind clear about what you need to do, and just clearing everything up. Getting that mind clear is what it's really all about, right? And all about life, right? Is getting yourself clean and getting your mind free. The next one is Foretold Chaos. Foretold Chaos I wrote in '99, and in 1999, there was a lot of talk going around about the year 2000, things were going to happen, wars are going to break out, and things like that. So I wrote that about the coming up prophecy stuff. Come on, Fritz, get out, get down. About, you know, prophecy stuff, and get out. Come on, buddy, get down. It's about prophecy stuff, and you know, about terrorists were going to attack us. And the funny thing about, well, not funny, but the sad thing about that is, in 2001, you know, the terrorists did get us and things like that. But in 1999, it was really like a push that things were, the year 2000 world was going to come to an end, computers were going to crash, and, you know, the world be in total chaos. So that's why I wrote that. The next one is irritating and dangerous. That was Frank's lyrics. I added a couple words here and there, I think, just to make it a little bit more mine. But those were Frank's lyrics, and irritating and chaos, irritating and dangerous. That was from the Secondhand Smoke days. He had that song for a while, and we just redid it and pumped it up a little bit more, gave it a little bit more balls when we went to the studio. So the next one is also a SOAR song, and it's called Suspicions. Suspicion is about a guy that's at a bar. He's calling his woman, you know, hey, you know, I messed up, I'm sorry, you know, let's get back together, let's make this happen, we can work this out. And it's really cool because there's some dialogue between me and Frank's girlfriend. She was always, you know, she was hanging around the studio with us, so I started to put her to work a little bit and say, hey, you know, why don't you do this dialogue with me? And she went in the studio, into the booth, and you know, I'm just calling her up, and we worked out some dialogue and things like that. So that song was pretty cool. I like that. I think it's got some cool keyboard on it. The next one is Love Never Dies. Love Never Dies I wrote about my mom passing away. That's probably one of the best songs I've ever written in my life. And it's kind of weird when death touches you, you know, especially at a young age, and you don't really know how to accept it, but you just kind of deal with it and move on like anything. You know, death is a part of life. But my mom was the strongest person I think I've ever met in my life, man. She had cancer. And it was really sad when she left. You know, I was 11. But Mike had a really cool riff, and I just worked out the lyrics over Mike's guitar work, and he had a really good idea for that song, so it worked out, and that's what became Love Never Dies. The next one, consumption. Consumption is about drugs, it's about alcohol, it's about any kind of addiction that you might have. I've seen it kill people. If you don't get it under control, get yourself under control, it can take you over and kill you. You know, like I said a little earlier, I've really grown a real hatred for drugs because I can see, and I'm not talking about smoking pot or whatever. I mean, I think there's something good about smoking pot, especially if you are sick, terminal illness or something like that. I think it can come into play where it can be helpful. But that's what consumption is about. So the last song is Warrior Sky, also a SOAR song. I wanted to write a song about Jesus and how he would view the world out on his own in the desert and things like that. And when I got done writing the song, it kind of became, you know, this is pretty much my song. You know, it sums up a guy's life at the end, and then, you know, at the end of your life, you step into that great beyond, that light, you know, that we all hear about, and hopefully one day I'll get to do that, you know. But that's what Warrior Sky is about. So, and I love the effects on that song that we did. Went to the studio, the guy had a little thing called a rain stick. You turn upside down and it sounded like rain, and turn the other way and it sounded like rain. And we had a thunder and things like that. So it turned out really cool. So I'm glad that's on there. But I got to cut this short. So that's a compilation. You can get it from me. Just ask, and I will certainly burn you a copy. So thanks for listening. I'm going to put this to the YouTube, Cecil Tube. And thanks, guys, and I'll be back later on because it's New Year's Eve, and I've got a little something to say about the New Year coming up. Thanks, guys. Later. Peace.